Rates don't live on a corkboard anymore. They live in a server. Central teams plug practice management data, zip code income bands, pet age and breed, historic acceptance, even no-show odds, into pricing engines that spit out rate cards. Those cards sync to clinic software so the options you hear land in a controlled order. The mid-tier is highlighted. The language is tuned. The total is not an accident. Concentration gives those cards teeth. In many regions, roughly 75% of specialty and emergency capacity sits under corporate umbrellas. Blue Pearl and VCA under Mars, NVA and Compassion First under JAB, with MedVet and PetVet covering swaths in between. When a few owners run the only lights on at 2 a.m., the going rate stops being local. It becomes strategic. That's the necessity premium. What you pay when choice is time, not distance. Here's how it sounds. A coordinator opens a treatment plan with 3 tiers: bronze, silver, gold. The cursor rests on silver with a soft tag. Clinically recommended. The lower tier is framed as basic, the upper as comprehensive, extra peace of mind. You hear safety first, then cost, then timing. You don't hear the KPI behind it. Average revenue per visit, acceptance rate, EBITDA per clinician, all rolling up in a weekly flash report. Behind the counter, it's testing season all the time. Pricing teams run AIB trials by neighborhood. Raise the triage fee $15 here, $75 there. Watch acceptance. Older pets show higher imaging acceptance, so scripts emphasize anesthesia safety for seniors. In higher income zips, the gold default gets a warmer glow. If acceptance holds for 2 weeks, the test becomes policy. If it dips, the script changes. Given his age, I'm most comfortable with silver. That sentence has a measured lift. Pre-op labs and diagnostic bundles carry the same logic. On a whiteboard, they reduce risk. In a dashboard, they also smooth revenue. Move consider to standard, and variance shrinks. Across 1,000 clinics, that shrinkage clears millions in interest. Nobody at the counter says coverage ratio. They say fewer surprises. Both can be true. The software doesn't just price, it stages the conversation. The PMS nudges staff to present in a set order. Benefits, risks of delay, the mid-tier plan, then financing as assurance. CareCredit sits right there, integrated. A soft pull returns a limit in seconds. That limit silently caps your choice. If you're approved for $6,000, gold feels reachable at a monthly number, even if bronze would have solved the problem for less. Acceptance rises, the model smooths. Data feedback closes the loop. The system tracks which phrases precede yes, which associates lean too conservative, and which neighborhoods balk at triage changes. An associate who skews bronze gets coached to hold the pause after quoting silver. Another gets a note to show the X-ray first, then the plan. 3 points of lift follow. Across the region, green boxes fill a slide for lenders. Dentistry runs the same play with different anatomy. DSOs backed by KKR, Blackstone, and Warburg Pincus tune X-ray cadence, periodontal thresholds, and sequencing to land on a 3-option slide that anchors the middle. Hygiene visits flow into standardized diagnoses. Production pay reinforces the cadence. The PMS flags underdiagnosis risk if your perio staging runs lighter than peers with the same patient mix. The nudge says education. The effect is revenue gravity. Labs and pharmacies plug in as profit rails. Owned or preferred labs feed turnaround and add-on capture into dashboards. In-house pharmacies price match selectively while routing volume to hit rebate ladders. Preventive plans spread costs across months, and churn models time reminders to keep drafts alive. Subscription care feels like convenience. To lenders, it reads as predictability. Prices did rise after acquisitions, 20 to 50% in many markets, because the spreadsheet said acceptance would hold under new floors. Insurers saw average per claim costs climb. Pet plans tightened. Households felt it as everything costs more now. Optimization isn't neutral when one side holds capacity and the other side holds a leash. There's a line clinicians won't cross: unnecessary care. Most don't. The pressure isn't to overtreat, it's to package, price, and present so yes happens more often and with fewer discounts. That's where the necessity premium grows, quietly, inside defaults, backed by ownership concentration. If you want to locate it, ask for an a la carte estimate. If the clinic can't or won't unbundle, you're not just buying medicine, you're buying a model. Listen for the tells. Mid-tier recommended. Mandatory pre-op labs without reading recent results. Facility fee, that's standard across our network. Financing framed as normal for routine care. Each one is a small nudge. Stacked together, their policy expressed as empathy. In a fragmented market, those nudges would compete with looser rooms. In a concentrated one, they become the price of saying yes quickly. Here's the hard part. The same system that optimizes revenue also funds real improvements. New imaging, safer anesthesia, 24/7 coverage. Better care and higher bills can arrive in the same envelope. The question isn't whether the medicine is good. It's whether the price reflects need or leverage. When the algorithm writes the menu, inside DSOs, the answer starts in a dentistry server, as a sales stethoscope. Walk into a corporatized dental clinic, and the day already has a number. The dashboard near the sterilizer flashes today's production target, yesterday's case acceptance, unscheduled treatment backlog, and average revenue per visit. Hygiene runs tight, buffers are slim. None of it mentions pain. All of it predicts it. The funnel starts in hygiene. A standardized X-ray protocol fires, bite wings for recalls, a full-mouth series if you're new or overdue. The PMS marks the images clinically recommended, not as a suggestion but as a default. A periodontal chart follows, depths called out like a metronome. Pockets over 4 millimeters turn the note red. When the dentist steps in, the software has already staged the conversation. 3 options on the screen: basic, advanced, comprehensive. The cursor rests on the middle. The language is practiced. Given these areas, I'm most comfortable with advanced. Benefits first, risks of delay second, then timing. Financing arrives early as reassurance, not pressure. Most patients spread this over 12 months at 0%. Behind that friendly promise is CareCredit, or a BNPL widget integrated into the PMS. Approvals ping in seconds. The limit appears on the coordinator's screen like a ceiling for the choice you'll make. Compensation tightens the pull. Many associates are on production pay, roughly 30 to 35% of what they produce, often with accelerators for clearing daily or monthly goals. Some platforms layer EBITDA-linked bonuses at the clinic level. Miss target, and the next day doesn't care. Hit it, and the multiplier sweetens. Managers coach the cadence. Lead with outcomes, anchor in the middle option, pause after the number, let silence work. Case acceptance inches up. The dashboard glows green. Scale turns coaching into culture. There are more than 120, now closer to 130, private equity-backed DSOs across the United States. Names like Heartland and MB2 anchor the mainstream. Specialty platforms span pediatrics, endodontics, and oral surgery. Capital from KKR, Blackstone, and Warburg Pincus funds de novos and affiliations. Regional density brings call centers that convert inquiries, paid search tuned by zip code, and recall engines that never forget. Chair time becomes a religion. You feel it as compression. 15 minutes for hygiene handoff, 2 rooms per assistant, providers floating between ops so no chair sits idle. No-shows are filled from standby lists flagged by software that scores who can arrive in 20 minutes. Open time is a red number on a weekly flash. Red numbers trigger calls. Insurance maximization is another lever. Verification tools pre-check benefits, surface remaining annual maximums, and map sequences. A crown this quarter to use what's left, prep the adjacent tooth in January after the reset. The pitch feels helpful. Use it or lose it. And it is. It's also revenue smoothing. The PMS highlights covered codes with fewer denial risks. Denials drop. Acceptance rises. The spreadsheet nods. Where does overtreatment risk enter? In thresholds. Periodontal staging is part science, part judgment. X-ray cadence can be stretched or tightened. A faint craze line can read as monitor or crown. Most clinicians are careful. Most DSOs publish policies that sound conservative, but incentives shape edges. When your bonus lifts with comprehensive plans, framing tilts. Not fraud gravity. Patients sense it. Second opinions increase, especially on larger, multi-phase plans. Marketing completes the funnel. New patient specials headline ads. Reviews trigger before you hit the parking lot. Negative feedback routes to a central team. Pediatric groups push memberships that smooth family spend across school calendars. Attrition is modeled. Recar nudges escalate if you stall. A hygienist reminder call is now a sequence campaign with subject lines A/B tested last month. Ownership concentration isn't as high as in veterinary specialty care, but consolidation is real. DSOs keep expanding because the math favors platforms. Lower supply costs through scale, access to capital for CAD/CAM and cone beam CT, and centralized recruiting. Clinicians trade autonomy for support. Some love it. New tech, steady patients, fewer admin headaches. Others feel the fence. Appointment blocks they can't stretch, protocols they can't bend, targets they can't ignore. Financing ties the loop. CareCredit approvals lift acceptance because they turn a $1,000 no into a $25 yes. The merchant fees the clinic pays get recouped in pricing strategy. Miss the promo payoff and retroactive APR backdates from the first swipe. BNPL lines stack across households. Orthodontics here, a crown there, until pay windows overlap. The monthly number once felt like air. Months later, it's a draft you didn't plan for. There are bright spots funded by the same machine. Single-visit crowns cleaner. Endo with 3D imaging, standardized sterilization, and mentorship for new grads. Better care can live next to a heavier bill. The question in the chair is simple. Does the plan reflect your mouth or the model? Ask for the a la carte estimate. Ask what can wait and how they'll watch it. Watch how quickly financing enters the room. The tell is tempo. If the conversation slows for your questions, you're likely hearing judgment. If it steers you back to the slide, you're in the funnel. Teeth don't negotiate well with pain. That's why this works. It's also why you need to pause when the cursor rests on the middle and ask, what happens if we start smaller and recheck? In a sales funnel, that's the only speed bump you control. The regulatory blind spot. Most people assume a doctor, a board, or a statute sits between you and a sales script. There is, but finance learned to step around it. The tool is the Management Services Organization, the MSO. On paper, licensed professionals own the clinical entity. The MSO owns everything else: hiring and firing, leases, software, scheduling templates, vendor contracts, and the language that presents care. Clinical judgment remains with the doctor. Every lever around judgment becomes financial. State boards weren't built for this. They police misconduct by individuals, not multi-state webs of ownership. Many states still ban the corporate practice of medicine in spirit, but MSO contracts slide through the gap. The shingle says Dr. Smith's Animal Hospital. The tax ID routes to Sunrise Services LLC. Sunrise rolls up to Summit Topco, which rolls up to a fund. When families complain about mandatory bundles or triage fees, the board can discipline a clinician, but it can't subpoena the pricing algorithm or sanction a KPI. Ownership opacity helps. Chains keep legacy names. Fine print in a footer says a Thrive partner or part of NVA. Blue Pearl and VCA mean Mars. NVA and Compassion First mean JAB Holding. In dental, Heartland, MB2, Aspen, and others tie back to private equity money from KKR, Blackstone, or Warburg Pincus. On intake forms, you might see a corporate privacy notice that reveals the network. Most people don't read that line. Regulators often can't see beyond it. Insurance doesn't fix it. Pet policies cap quickly. Dental benefits cap annually. The gap is cash, and cash became a product. CareCredit sits at the counter with no interest if paid in full promos that turn retroactive if you miss the window. Buy now, pay later widgets approve in seconds. Consumer finance regulators watch APR disclosures. They don't watch how an approved limit steers a treatment plan or how acceptance curves become EBITDA. Antitrust glances over, but the pattern hides in pieces. The Federal Trade Commission did require JAB to divest clinics in California, Colorado, Texas, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., when specialty density threatened to tip markets. Those are the headline cases. Most consolidation happens one clinic at a time, below Hart-Scott-Rodino thresholds, across dozens of states. By the early 202s, roughly 75% of specialty and emergency capacity in many regions belonged to corporate chains. At 2 a.m., that concentration sets the floor and shrinks choice to a logo. Non-compete clauses fortify the map. A veterinarian or dentist who sells often signs a multi-year, multi-mile restriction. If they burn out under quotas, they can't open across town. Relief work becomes the pressure valve. It doesn't rebuild competitors. Some states are narrowing non-competes in healthcare, but changes arrive patchy, and carve-outs linger where MSOs argue they're non-clinical. The net result: fewer new independents, steadier pricing power. Even when regulators act, the tools are dull. A board can fine an ad for being misleading. An attorney general can question a financing practice, who audits a dashboard, who declares case acceptance a clinical matter. The MSO says it never dictates diagnoses, only efficiency and standardization. Efficiency sounds like 15-minute hygiene buffers and mandatory pre-op labs framed as safety. Standardization sounds like bronze, silver, gold with the middle highlighted. Both pass through rules written for another era. Data escapes oversight almost entirely. Veterinary records sit outside HIPAA. Dental data often sits inside HIPAA, but flows to MSOs through business associate agreements. Practice management vendors aggregate codes, outcomes, spend patterns, and no-show rates into dashboards sold back to platforms. Those dashboards tune rate cards by zip code and acuity. There's no routine audit of how those algorithms shape price, only outcomes the platform selects to showcase. If a family asks why the bill jumped this month, the answer references market updates, not an elasticity test that cleared uptown. Charity care and teaching hospitals help at the edges. Some nonprofits run low-cost clinics or triage lines. Dental schools offer reduced prices under supervision. They take time most emergencies don't have. The gap remains where panic lives. Midnight ER, cracked molars, seizure triage. That gap is where financing pings approved, where bundles firm, where price floors hold. Meanwhile, sponsor-to-sponsor flips keep the clock ticking. If a fund runs out of hold time, it sells to a new fund with 5 fresh years and a tighter thesis. MedVet sponsors consider exits. Shore Capital and Silver Lake discuss combinations. Mars weighs when to buy next. Each turn resets targets. Regulators measure years. Debt measures quarters. The cadence favors the spreadsheet. There's a way to carve daylight. States can require MSO disclosure in plain language on invoices and websites. Boards can demand that mandatory bundles be clinically justified in the chart, not by policy. Attorneys general can examine deferred interest financing in clinical settings. Antitrust can evaluate capacity concentration at the specialty and ER level, not just by brand. Non-compete limits can include MSO-managed clinics. These are not silver bullets. They're friction, time for families to think, room for independence to breathe. Until then, you have to be your own cop on the beat. Ask who owns the clinic. Ask if a central team sets prices. Ask for a la carte estimates and what can safely wait. If policy answers your medical question, step back. When regulation lags the model, the only guardrail left is the question you ask before you say yes. The workforce squeeze, burnout as a business model. You can't standardize price without standardizing pace. That's where the model bites the hardest, on the people wearing scrubs. Central scheduling tools close gaps the way airlines fill seats. 5 minutes shaved from a block. A lunch that becomes on call. A double book here, a squeeze in there. Utilization ticks up on a regional dashboard. The day feels like a conveyor. Nobody ordered cruelty. The spreadsheet just prefers no idle chairs. Wages rarely catch the tempo. After acquisitions, pay grids harmonize to market medians. Raises trail inflation. Ladders appear, modules to unlock titles, incentives tied to production, overtime frowned upon. A new software update adds 3 clicks to every note. Charting spills past clockout. Gratitude erodes when the meter never sleeps. Surveillance is sold as support until it isn't. ARPV by clinician, radiograph capture by assistant, perio-probing completeness by hygienist, turnover times by tech, color-coded, compared, and coached. If your numbers drift, you get a huddle. Drift again, you get a plan with measurable objectives. Nowhere on that plan is the hour you spent comforting a family after a euthanasia, or the late-night emergency that blew up your buffer. Emotional labor doesn't count toward EBITDA per clinician. Quotas don't dictate diagnoses. They shape everything around them. A vet who once comped a recheck for a long-time client now needs approval. A dentist who'd rather watch a borderline crack until the next recall hears, frame benefits. Missing target trims bonuses and ripples to team reviews. Shared dashboards mean shared pressure. We need today. We means debt service somewhere else. Moral injury shows up in the smallest choices. A tech sits longer with an anxious dog and is told her room utilization trails peers. A hygienist slows for a nervous teen and gets a note about throughput. An associate flags a watch-and-wait plan and is coached to anchor advanced. None of it sounds evil. It sounds like consistency. It feels like subtraction. Turnover becomes an input you can model. Recruiting teams build pipelines of new grads and traveling relief clinicians. Sign-on bonuses look generous, backed by non-competes that make leaving costly. Mid-career doctors who'd open across town can't. They drift to relief work, fill gaps, and keep the machine running. The shortage narrative, part real, part convenient, justifies higher rates and thinner staffing. We're doing more with less becomes we can charge more because there's less. Centralized scheduling squeezes harder when someone calls out. Double book the morning. Slide the lunch. Push charting to end of day. End of month, end of quarter sprints normalize. Tighten estimates. Reduce discretionary write-offs. Book recalls before patients stand. Managers don't demand heroics. The cadence assumes them. If a clinic slips, a regional arrives with scripts and cadence checks. A pep talk here, a warning there, and green boxes return to the flash. Compensation cements behavior. Associates on production watch their day like a meter. 2 cancellations? Push to fill. Behind pace? Present the mid-tier harder, shorten the pause after the number, lean into safer. Bonuses tie to monthly EBITDA, so the last week turns breathless. Lab cases out, recalls booked, estimates accepted now. Some teams thrive on the push. Many fray. Either way, the platform's chart smiles. MSO contracts fence clinical. Independence without touching the exam. Want to stretch blocks for complex cases? Needs approval. Want to adjust the X-ray cadence? Policy says no. Want to suture brand outside formulary? Denied by a margin owner. Each lever routes through someone measured on cost. Judgment remains, the room shrinks around it. Not everything is bleak. Scale funds CE, mentorship, safer anesthesia standards, 24/7 ER coverage that saves lives. A new grad can learn fast with backup. Some platforms test 4-day weeks, protected debriefs after hard cases, and longer blocks for complex care, and see lower churn without losing much margin. Those are bright spots. They prove breadth is possible. Listen to closing time. We hit goal. We survived. We did good medicine. All 3 can be true. What's new is the math grading the feeling. When lenders want weekly flash reports, clinics learn to chase weekly wins. Burnout isn't the plan. It's the tolerated byproduct of targets set 2 buildings away. Here's a microstory. A junior vet finishes a midnight shift, 3 GDVs, 1 euthanasia, 2 approvals that only cleared after CareCredit pinged approved. She cries in the car, sleeps 4 hours, and returns to a coaching huddle about case acceptance. Lead with risk reduction. Hold the pause. She nods. She cares. She adjusts. Her bonus inches up. Her fuse shortens. There's a way this ends better. Some clinics carve guardrails. No double booking after back-to-back euthanasias, mandatory debriefs, caps on daily case counts, autonomy to comp where trust is equity. Churn drops. Recruiting costs fall. Errors decline. Margin forgives 2 points when turnover stops bleeding 6. The math is there if owners choose it. But the broader system still routes through deadlines. Sponsor to sponsor flips reset clocks. Sale leasebacks never blink. Dividend recaps add timers only finance sees. In that cadence, the cheapest lever is people. Squeeze 5 minutes. Add a room. Color code the pause. The spreadsheet turns green. If you want to know whether burnout is baked in, ask 2 questions at any corporatized clinic. Who sets your schedule targets? And what happens to your pay if you fall short? If the answers point off-site, you're not just in a clinic. You're inside a timetable written for debt. Financing the unaffordable, BNPL for care. The estimate lands, and the room tilts. $4,000 for a dental rehab. $8,000 for an emergency splenectomy. Before you can swallow, the coordinator softens her voice. Most families spread this over 12 months at 0%. That line is the bridge from medical risk to debt risk, and more households are crossing it every month. CareCredit sits at the heart of this. It's a revolving credit line from Synchrony, embedded directly into practice software. The workflow is seamless by design, a soft credit pull at intake, an approval in seconds, a limit that appears like a lifeline. The pitch is simple, no interest if paid in full within the promotional period. The hinge is that word, if. Miss the payoff window by a day, and retroactive APR backdates to the first swipe. Clinics absorb merchant fees, then recover them through pricing strategy the dashboard calls market alignment. Buy now, pay later options run alongside. Third-party widgets plug into the same practice system, and split totals into bite-sized installments without a traditional card. Approvals feel merciful. No awkward phone calls, no separate office, just a tap and a green check. Limits steer choices quietly. If you're approved for $6,000, the gold bundle stops sounding impossible and starts sounding manageable at $167 a month. The limit becomes the lane. Instant approvals move a key metric, case acceptance. A $1,000 no turns into a $25 yes. Across networks, even a 2 to 4 point lift stabilizes EBITDA. Stable EBITDA pleases lenders. Pleased lenders unlock refinancings and dividend recaps. The family hears we can start today. The platform hears coverage ratio protected. Stacking is where it tightens. A CareCredit balance from last year's ER visit meets a BNPL plan from Spring's Crown and Root Canal. A wellness membership drafts monthly in the background. Each plan had a 0% window that felt safe when it started. Life didn't match those windows. A job change, a car repair, a missed autopay, and the retroactive APR lights up. The monthly nut that calmed panic turns into a budget fuse. Clinics' no defaults are part of the curve. Many quietly sell receivables to specialty finance firms that advance cash and collect later. The clinic gets certainty. The bill keeps living in your mailbox. This isn't a morality tale, it's portfolio math. Across thousands of families, models predict who pays and when. The risk moves from provider to lender to household, and the ER night you survived keeps billing the future. There is access value here. Financing means a pet gets surgery tonight instead of suffering until a payday. A molar gets saved before the infection spreads. But access can mask price. If a corporatized clinic's rate card sits 20 to 30% above an independent's, a 0% plan can turn an expensive choice into an easy one. You're paying for capital structure, not just care. The script that gets you there is deliberate. Benefits first, safer outcome, fewer surprises, then risks of delay, then the mid-tier plan, then financing as reassurance. Most families choose 12 months at 0. If you nod, the app opens. If you hesitate, the pause holds. Silence is a tool because silence lifts acceptance. This is coaching, not cynicism. It works because fear wants a door. Under the hood, financing is a KPI like any other. Platforms track approval rates by zip code, limits by income band, conversion by phrasing, and bad debt curves by promo length. They learn that a 6-month term converts faster but spikes missed windows. A 12-month term converts slower but holds longer. A 24-month term feels safer but drags margin. The mix becomes policy. Policy becomes the line you hear at checkout. When money got cheap after the 2008 crash, this machinery slotted neatly into roll-ups. Cheap leverage needed predictable cash flows. Financing turned lumpy emergencies into smooth drafts. When rates climbed off the floor, the model didn't unwind, it tightened. Clinics pushed pre-approval earlier in the visit. The NPL rails got more visible. Wellness plans expanded to catch small bills before they shocked the card. Predictability is oxygen when lenders want weekly flash reports. If you have to use these tools, change the angle. Pick the shortest promo you can beat with certainty, then set an autopay to clear 1 month early. Ask the clinic for an in-house split, 3 payments, flat, no retro APR. Some independents will say yes if you ask before they open CareCredit. Always request an itemized estimate first. Remove non-essential bundles so you're not financing add-ons you don't need. And carry your records, labs, x-rays, chart notes, so you don't pay to repeat what's still clinically valid. The hard truth is this: financing expands access and props up prices at the same time. It lets you act when time feels cruel. It also turns acceptance into a lever that feeds a balance sheet you'll never see. In a crisis, you'll sign. Most of us would. Just know which part is recession to roll up and which part is to understand why a clipboard now looks like a credit application.